Ambassador to Mexico resigned. These are not isolated cases. They wouldn't hire Victor Cha to be ambassador to South Korea because he didn't walk the party line. This is the most this administration inherited, fair enough, the most difficult, daunting inbox in modern memory. They then gone around and done things to make it even more difficult. But it'd be as if you were playing the Golden State and suddenly you benched your starting team. The mismatch between the challenges the United States faces and the strength now of our diplomatic capability ought to make people concerned.
I guess I have a two-parter here. The first would be to Richard. How much of that is actually the
scared of the NRA than Pat Toomey?
Yeah. President Trump appeared to split with the NRA last Wednesday, but a day later, they had reportedly reconciled. Jeremy Peters has new reporting on that, but also the one area where President Trump still has big issues with the gun group. We'll talk about that. You're watching Morning Joe. We'll be right back.
Says something different.
Talking about internal staff struggles, not talking about their agenda.
He only creates half the drama. The other half is caused by staff killing each other.
If I may be so honored to have all the female nominees stand with me.
It's this possibility of the status quo not having to be the status quo any longer.
The changes are being driven by the powerful sound of new voices finally saying, time's up.
This is New Day with Chris Cuomo and Allison Camerata.
Good morning. Welcome to your new day. It's Monday, March 5th, 8 o'clock in the East. Allison is off. Erica Hill is joining us this morning. Thank you, my friend.
Good to be back with you.
Oh, absolutely. Up first, President Trump defending his decision to impose tariffs on imported steel and aluminum despite fierce resistance. The president is now tying those proposed tariffs to issues with Mexico and Canada, saying they will come off, the tariffs, if a new NAFTA deal is signed. Could these tariffs hurt Republicans in the midterm elections?
The White House is downplaying reports that the president's chief economist is planning to leave over the tariffs. A key question, meantime, about the president's son-in-law, who's supposed to spearhead Middle East peace talks. With his security clearance reduced, will Jared Kushner even be in the room when the president meets the Israeli prime minister today at the White House? It is a very busy Monday morning. We've got it all covered. We begin with Caitlin Collins live at the White House. Caitlin?
Well, good morning, Erica and Chris. President Trump seems to be welcoming the idea of a potential trade war and rebuffing the concerns of those U.S. allies who are worried that those proposed tariffs could have severe impacts. But according to the president, the United States has been on the losing end of those global trade deals for just too long.
The president was quite clear. We can't have a country that can defend itself and prosper without an aluminum and steel industry.
The Trump administration defending its stiff proposed tariffs on imported steel and aluminum, despite threats of retaliation from key American allies who will be disproportionately hurt by the policy.
Sure, there may well be some sort of retaliation, but the amounts that they're talking about are also pretty trivial.
White House advisor Peter Navarro telling CNN that at this point, the president isn't planning on issuing any exemptions.
As soon as you exempt one country, then you have to exempt another country. And so it's a slippery slope.
British Prime Minister Theresa May calling Mr. Trump Sunday to express deep concerns after officials from the European Union vowed to impose taxes on U.S. goods, including Harley-Davidson motorcycles, bourbon whiskey, and Levi's jeans. President Trump appearing undeterred, responding by threatening to tax European cars and tweeting, "Steel and aluminum industries are dead. Sorry, it's time for a change." But Mr. Trump's advisors appearing to leave room for the president to change his mind.
Whatever his final decision is what will happen. What he has said, he has said. If he says something different, it'll be something different. I have no reason to think he's going to change.
A number of Republicans speaking out publicly against the president's proposal.
This trade wars and dividing us from our allies makes no sense.
China is winning and we're losing with this tariff regime. You're letting China off the hook. You're punishing the American consumer and our allies. You're making a huge mistake here.
On the heels of a chaotic week in the West Wing, the president making light of the tumult at a closed-door black-tie dinner, telling attendees, "I like chaos. It really is good." Now the question everyone keeps asking is, who is going to be the next to leave? Steve Miller or Melania? And taking a jab at his embattled son-in-law, saying, quote, "Before I get started, I want to apologize for arriving a little bit late. You know, we're late tonight because Jared couldn't get through security. The president also joking that Vice President Mike Pence starts out each morning asking everyone, quote, has he been impeached yet? Mr. Trump making light of China's decision to scrap presidential term limits in a conversation with donors Saturday.
He's now president for life. No, he's great. He's great. Look, he was able to do that. I think it's great. Maybe we'll have to give that a shot someday.
Now, the president and the First Lady Melania Trump will welcome the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, and his wife here to the White House today. And it's worth noting that there are no scheduled photo opportunities at the moment. But one thing to keep your eye on is if Jared Kushner is going to be involved in that meeting after he was stripped of his top secret national security clearance last week. Chris and Erica.
Well, that's the rub, Caitlin. The president can give that kind of classification to really anyone he wants. It'll be interesting if he books Kelly's own determinations, but there's a lot of politics there, isn't there? All right, Caitlin, thank you very much. Joining us now, CNN political analysts Josh Green and Jonathan Martin. Gentlemen, good to have you. So Erica just did this really good interview with Stephen Moore. Stephen Moore, obviously economic advisor to President Trump, now a CNN colleague here. He and Larry Kudlow and another economist got together and put their conservative bona fides on display, saying this is the wrong thing for Trump to do. Jonathan Martin, why is the president doing it anyway?
Because he is a longtime believer in protectionism. If you look at the sort of arc of his public life, the one consistent view he has had is